to depart from the servant of God.
25 controversial 1970s films that were banned or broke every rule. In 1970s America, you could witness films so dangerous that one sparked an FBI manhunt when authorities believed they were watching real murder footage. Another was so disturbing that its Oscar-winning director voluntarily banned it for 27 years after copycat crimes. And one remains so extreme that studios still keep the complete version locked away, unseen for decades. These weren't just boundary-pushing movies, they were cinematic warfare against everything America held sacred. Welcome to the 25 most forbidden films that defined a generation's rebellion and changed Hollywood forever. Number 25. Blood-Sucking Freaks. 1976.
Dinner by candlelight. How romantic.
Originally titled The Incredible Torture Show. This Joel Reed nightmare follows a magician and his assistant who kidnap women to torture them on stage in a sleazy off-Broadway theater. What started as low-budget exploitation became one of the most banned films in Grindhouse history. The MPAA immediately slapped it with an X rating, and several cities banned it outright. The film barely made money during its initial run, but underground midnight screenings in the late 70s and 80s turned it into a cult phenomenon. By the 2000s, Trauma Entertainment picked it up for home video release. Eli Roth, who provided commentary for later releases, argued there's social commentary on human trafficking and greed buried beneath the gore. Director Joel Reed insisted he conceived it as dark satire, but most audiences just watched because it was completely insane. The film's cover art drill jammed into a man's head became iconic in exploitation circles. Number 24. Women in Revolt. 1971.
We'll be the catalysts, but she'll be something, Holly.
Andy Warhol's factory production, starring his superstars Candy Darling, Holly Woodlawn, and Jackie Curtis, wasn't banned for violence, it was banned for being decades ahead of its time. This satirical take on women's liberation featured transgender performers in leading roles, something that sent conservative America into panic mode. Paul Morrissey directed this improvised comedy about three women starting a feminist revolution, but local censors couldn't handle the film's frank discussions of gender identity and sexuality. Several theaters refused bookings, and some cities banned it entirely after preview screenings. The film cost virtually nothing to make, shot guerrilla style in Warhol's factory with handheld cameras. Despite limited release,
Passion. Let me see it on your face.
It influenced underground cinema for decades. Today, it's recognized as a groundbreaking work that predated mainstream conversations about gender fluidity by 50 years.
What's your favorite from all of those early B epics?
My favorite is always the movie that I'm making now.
In other words, the one you like best of all is Bum on a Blonde Trip.
Number 23. Mandingo. 1975.
Right. Free man, not slave.
Please you.
Based on Kyle Onstott's controversial novel, this antebellum drama starring James Mason and Susan George depicted slavery with unflinching brutality. Director Richard Fleischer didn't sanitize the horror, she put them front and center, creating one of the most uncomfortable viewing experiences of the decade. The film's graphic violence, sexual content, and racial themes sparked outrage across America. Several southern states banned it outright, while others demanded heavy cuts. Critics called it exploitative trash, but audiences were fascinated by its uncompromising portrayal of America's darkest chapter. Producer Dino De Laurentiis invested $4 million in the production, and despite widespread controversy, it grossed over $20 million worldwide. The film spawned a sequel, Drum, but both remain lightning rods for discussions about exploitation versus historical honesty. Roger Ebert famously called it racist trash, while others argued it forced America to confront uncomfortable truths. Number 22. The Last Detail, 1973.
30 cents worth of beer in a glass and the same from the shipmates here. Don't work.
Hal Ashby's Navy comedy, drama starring Jack Nicholson might seem tame today, but in 1973, its profanity-laden script caused nationwide panic. The The film features over 300 uses of profanity, making it one of the most foul-mouthed mainstream releases ever. Robert Towne's Oscar-nominated screenplay followed two Navy petty officers escorting a young sailor to military prison. The authentic military dialogue shocked censors who demanded massive cuts. Several theater chains refused to book it, and some cities banned it entirely. Columbia Pictures initially balked at releasing the film uncut, but Jack Nicholson's rising star power after 5 Easy Pieces gave them confidence. The gamble paid off. It earned 3 Oscar nominations and grossed $10 million. Nicholson later said the profanity was essential to the character's authenticity, arguing that real sailors don't speak like choir boys. Number 21. Fritz the Cat, 1972.
Excuse me, did anyone find an earring? I mean, I dropped my earring in the trash.
Ralph Bakshi's X-rated animated feature proved cartoons weren't just for kids. Based on Robert Crumb's underground comic, this anthropomorphic satire of 1960s counterculture featured explicit sex, drug use, and social commentary that horrified family-friendly theater owners. The film's cartoon characters engaging in graphic sexual situations and drug use was unprecedented. Several countries banned it outright, including parts of Australia and the UK. Even in America, many theaters refused to show an X-rated cartoon, despite growing adult animation interest. Independent distributor Cinemation Industries took a massive risk, spending $700,000 on production. The controversy paid off spectacularly. Fritz the Cat became the most successful independent animated film ever, grossing over $90 million worldwide. It proved animation could tackle adult themes, paving the way for later successes like Heavy Metal and South Park. Creator Robert Crumb famously disowned the adaptation, killing off Fritz in his comics to prevent future film sequels. Number 20. Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS, 1975.
That was the Nazi nightmare explode.
This Canadian exploitation film starring Deanne Thorne as a sadistic Nazi commandant became the gold standard of notorious cinema. Set in a concentration camp, Ilsa conducts twisted medical experiments while torturing prisoners in increasingly creative ways. Shot on leftover Hogan's Heroes sets for $150,000, the film was immediately banned in Australia, Germany, New Zealand, and other countries. The content was so extreme that cast and crew members sued to have their names removed from the credits. Despite universal condemnation, it grossed over $2 million worldwide, spawning multiple sequels. The controversy made it famous, turning it into an iconic exploitation film that influenced decades of grindhouse cinema. Director Don Edmonds later defended it as satire, arguing it highlighted the absurdity of Nazi ideology. Whether viewers saw commentary or exploitation depended entirely on their perspective, but there's no denying its cultural impact on underground cinema. Number 19. The Devils, 1971.
Absolutely brilliant. ABC TV. Superbly.
Ken Russell's Baroque historical drama about 17th century French religious hysteria wasn't just banned, it was buried. Based on true events involving accusations of demonic possession, the film features Oliver Reed as a priest caught in political and religious persecution. Warner Brothers preemptively cut the film before BBFC review, but censors demanded additional deletions anyway. The trimmed version received an X certificate, but many British councils refused to screen it. Mary Whitehouse's campaigners denounced it as blasphemous filth. In America, it also received an X rating, forcing another 6 minutes of cuts for theatrical release. The missing footage remains largely unreleased, making The Devils one of cinema's most famous incomplete works. Despite censorship, critics later hailed it as a masterpiece. Directors like Guillermo del Toro publicly criticized Warner Brothers for refusing to release the complete version, calling it one of the greatest banned films ever made. Number 18. Monty Python's Life of Brian, 1979.
Matthias, son of Deuteronomy of
This irreverent satire about a man mistaken for the Messiah proved comedy could be just as controversial as horror. The Python Troop's religious parody sparked accusations of blasphemy across the Christian world. While the British Rating Board gave it a relatively mild AA certificate, local councils wielded real power. 11 British councils outright banned the film, while 28 more raised the minimum age to X in protest. Several countries banned it entirely. Despite censorship battles, Life of Brian became a massive box office hit and eventual comedy classic. Critics later hailed it as comedy genius, but religious groups continued protesting for years. The film's marketing brilliantly used controversy to its advantage, with posters proclaiming, "So funny it was banned in Norway." The censorship saga became part of Python legend, proving satire could be more dangerous than violence. Number 17. Midnight Cowboy, 1969.
Ain't nobody laughing at me on the street.
Behind your back, I seen him laughing.
While released in 1969, this X-rated drama's early 70s re-releases continued sparking controversy. John Schlesinger's tale of friendship between a naive hustler and a sickly conman broke new ground for mainstream cinema. The film's frank depiction of homosexuality, prostitution, and urban decay earned it the first and only X rating for a Best Picture winner. Many theaters initially refused bookings, while others demanded proof of age for all viewers. United Artists took a massive risk distributing an X-rated film so widely, but critical acclaim and word of mouth turned it into a phenomenon. It grossed $44 million against a $3.2 million budget, proving adult content could succeed in mainstream markets. The film's success paved the way for other challenging dramas, showing Hollywood that audiences craved authentic stories about society's margins. Its X rating was later changed to R, without any cuts, reflecting evolving standards. Number 16. Behind the Green Door, 1972.
Gloria, I'm going to tell you everything that's going to take place, so there's no need to be frightened. But first you must try to relax.
The Mitchell brothers' adult film starring Marilyn Chambers became a cultural phenomenon that transcended its genre. This tale of sexual awakening was shot with higher production values than typical adult films, creating something approaching art. Gloria checks into a hotel and is kidnapped by masked men, landing in a bizarre silent theater. There, she becomes the centerpiece of surreal performance dances, acrobatics, and hypnotic rituals. Serenaded and adored by strangers, she's swept into a dreamlike spectacle. By morning, she's released, left wondering if it was real or just a wild hallucination. Like Deep Throat, it faced bans in multiple cities and legal challenges nationwide. Despite legal troubles, it grossed an estimated $50 to $100 million worldwide, making Chambers a household name. The film played in legitimate theaters, breaking down barriers between adult entertainment and mainstream cinema. Its influence extended beyond adult films, inspiring discussions about female sexuality and cinematic representation. Number 15. The Deer Hunter, 1978.
C-L-A-I-R-T-O-N, Pennsylvania.
Michael Cimino's Vietnam War epic faced controversy, not for explicit content, but for its political implications. The film's depiction of Vietnamese characters and infamous Russian roulette scenes sparked international outrage. Several countries, including Vietnam and the Soviet Union, banned the film for its alleged racism and historical inaccuracies. Critics argued it perpetuated negative stereotypes while glorifying American intervention. Despite political controversy, it became a massive critical and commercial success, winning 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. The 3-hour epic grossed over $48 million domestically, proving audiences would sit through challenging content. The film's legacy remains complicated, praised for its performances and cinematography, while criticized for its cultural representations. It sparked debates about Hollywood's responsibility in depicting foreign cultures that continue today. Number 14. I Spit on Your Grave, 1978.
I'll give you something to remember for the rest of your life.
Miyazaki rape revenge thriller became one of the most vilified films ever made. Following a woman's brutal assault and subsequent revenge, it divided audiences between those seeing feminist empowerment and others seeing exploitation. The film was never shown theatrically in the UK, instead becoming a notorious video nasty in the 1980s. When Zarki finally submitted it to the BBFC in 2001, they demanded 7 minutes of cuts to obtain an 18 certificate. Self-distributed by Zarki, it grossed over $5 million worldwide despite universal critical condemnation. Roger Ebert called it a vile bag of garbage, giving it 0 stars in a famously scathing review. The film's reputation remains split. Some view it as misogynistic trash, while others see a primal feminist revenge fantasy. Its influence on the rape-revenge subgenre is undeniable, inspiring countless imitators and remakes. Number 13. Snuff, 1976.
London is under exclusive contract to me.
This exploitation hoax became one of cinema's biggest controversies. Originally shot as Slaughter in Argentina, distributor Alan Shackleton added a fake ending and marketed it as a real murder film from South America. The deception worked perfectly. Feminist groups protested, police investigated, and the FBI got involved, everyone believing they were watching actual murder footage. Several cities banned screenings entirely. Eventually, actors from the ending appeared on television to prove they were alive, but the damage was done. The film remained banned in the UK as a video nasty until 2003, successfully prosecuted for obscenity. Despite being entirely fake, Snuff proved how effectively controversy could be manufactured. Shackleton spent $11,000 on the new ending, adding to the original $30,000 budget, and made over $1 million. It remains a masterclass in exploitation marketing. Number 12. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. Tobe Hooper's low-budget horror masterpiece created a new template for terror that was too intense for many countries to handle. Following teenagers who encounter a cannibalistic Texas family, it felt more like documentary footage than fiction. The British Board of Film Classification refused certification, while Germany confiscated prints and Australia cancelled screenings mid-run. The grainy cinematography and relentless pacing created an unprecedented sense of realism. Made for $140,000, it grossed over $30 million worldwide, becoming one of the most profitable independent films ever. Every slasher film that followed owes a debt to Hooper's vision. Despite minimal blood shown on screen, the film's atmosphere was so intense that audiences felt they were witnessing real violence. It remained banned in the UK until 1999, when it finally received an 18 rating. The film's influence on horror cinema cannot be overstated. Number 11. The Hills Have Eyes, 1977.
The silver has been gone for 40 years now.
Wes Craven's follow-up to Last House on the Left proved his first film wasn't a fluke. This tale of suburban family versus desert cannibals pushed survival horror into new territory, creating another video nasty. The film's graphic violence and nihilistic tone made it too extreme for many censors. It was banned in several countries and heavily cut in others. The UK didn't approve an uncut version until 2003. Shot for $230,000 in the Nevada desert, it became a cult classic despite limited theatrical release. The film's influence on later horror, including Craven's own Red Eye and countless imitators, established it as a genre milestone. Craven later admitted he made it as therapy, working through his own feelings about violence and civilization. Whether audiences saw social commentary or exploitation varied, but the film's power was undeniable. Number 10. Dirty Harry, 1971. Don Siegel's police thriller starring Clint Eastwood sparked nationwide debates about vigilante justice and police brutality. Harry Callahan's methods for stopping a serial killer raised questions about law enforcement ethics. Critics accused the film of promoting fascist ideology and police state mentality. Several European countries restricted or banned it, while American cities debated whether police officers should be allowed to watch it. Despite political controversy, it grossed $36 million domestically and spawned 4 sequels. Eastwood's iconic performance and memorable dialogue made it a cultural phenomenon that influenced action cinema for decades. The film's legacy remains controversial. Some see it as right-wing propaganda, while others view it as a morally complex examination of justice versus law. Its influence on police procedurals and action films is undeniable. Number 9. Carnal Knowledge, 1971. Mike Nichols' relationship drama starring Jack Nicholson and Art Garfunkel faced obscenity charges for its frank discussions of sexuality and relationships. The film's mature themes and adult dialogue shocked conservative audiences. Several states attempted to ban it, leading to a Supreme Court case that helped define modern obscenity law. The film's realistic portrayal of male relationships and sexual attitudes made censors uncomfortable nationwide. Despite legal troubles, it earned critical acclaim and Oscar nominations. Nicholson's performance as a misogynistic womanizer was both compelling and disturbing, creating complex audience reactions. The film's influence on adult relationship dramas was significant, proving audiences wanted honest portrayals of sexuality and romance. Its legal legacy helped establish precedents for artistic expression that benefit filmmakers today. Number 8. Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, 1971. Melvin Van Peebles' revolutionary blaxploitation film was banned not just for content, but for its radical political message. This tale of a black man fighting police oppression became a rallying cry for African American cinema. The film's anti-police message and explicit content made it too dangerous for many jurisdictions. Several cities banned it entirely, while others heavily censored it. The MPAA gave it an X rating, limiting theatrical options. Van Peebles self-financed and distributed the film, creating a template for independent black cinema. It grossed over $4 million against a $500,000 budget, proving African American audiences were hungry for authentic representation. The film's influence on later blaxploitation and independent cinema was enormous. Directors like Spike Lee cite it as a crucial inspiration, and its DIY approach influenced generations of filmmakers. Number 7. Last House on the Left, 1972. Wes Craven's directorial debut redefined screen violence with its unflinching portrayal of brutality and revenge. This low-budget shocker about teenage kidnapping and parental vengeance was too intense for most censors. The BBFC refused classification in 1974, and it remained banned in the UK for decades. The film's realistic violence and moral ambiguity made it impossible to categorize as simple entertainment. Shot for $80,000, Din Me. It became a cult classic despite limited release. The film's influence on horror cinema was enormous, establishing templates for rape revenge films and realistic violence. Craven later admitted he never expected such extreme reactions. Audiences reportedly fainted and vomited during screenings, while critics either praised its power or condemned its brutality. The film remains a watershed moment in horror history. Number 6. The Exorcist, 1973. William Friedkin's supernatural horror masterpiece sparked religious controversy and panic attacks nationwide. This tale of demonic possession and Catholic faith pushed religious buttons like no film before. Christian groups protested vigorously, pressuring local councils to ban it. Several towns successfully blocked screenings, while others saw riots outside theaters. The film's blasphemous imagery and religious themes were too much for conservative America. Despite controversy, it became a massive hit, grossing over $441 million worldwide. The film's influence on horror cinema was enormous, establishing possession as a major subgenre. Its home video release was blocked in the UK until 1999, making it one of the longest banned mainstream films. When finally released uncut, it proved that great filmmaking transcends temporary moral panics. Number 5. Taxi Driver, 1976. Martin Scorsese's psychological character study sparked fears about copycat violence and lone wolf terrorism. Robert De Niro's Travis Bickle became a terrifying portrait of urban alienation and vigilante fantasy. The film's climactic violence and political themes worried censors and critics. Some argued it glorified assassination and vigilante justice, making it dangerous for unstable viewers. When John Hinckley Jr. attempted to assassinate President Reagan in 1981, citing the film as inspiration, controversy exploded again. The incident raised questions about media influence that continue today. Despite concerns, it's now recognized as a masterpiece of American cinema. The film's influence on character studies and urban thrillers was enormous, inspiring countless imitators and homages. Number 4. Pink Flamingos, 1972. John Waters' underground classic pushed every boundary imaginable, earning its title as cinema's filthiest film. Divine's battle for the title of filthiest person alive included acts too outrageous for most audiences to handle. The film was banned in multiple countries and heavily censored everywhere else. Even sanitized versions shocked audiences with their transgressive content and deliberate bad taste. Shot $14,000, it became a midnight movie phenomenon that influenced underground cinema for decades. Its cult following proved audiences craved authentic rebellion against mainstream values. Waters later said the film was designed to offend everyone equally, succeeding beyond his wildest dreams. Its inclusion in the National Film Registry proves that even trash can become art when done with enough conviction. Number 3. Straw Dogs, 1971. Sam Peckinpah's psychological thriller sparked debates about masculinity, violence, and sexual assault that continue today. Dustin Hoffman's transformation from pacifist to warrior disturbed audiences and critics alike. The film's controversial rape sequence led to bans across the UK and heavy censorship elsewhere. Critics argued it glorified violence against women, while others saw complex moral examination. Despite controversy, it's now recognized as Peckinpah's masterpiece. The film's influence on psychological thrillers and violent cinema was significant, inspiring directors like David Cronenberg and Michael Haneke. Its themes of civilization versus savagery remain relevant, making it a film that continues provoking discussion decades after its release. Number 2. A Clockwork Orange, 1971. Stanley Kubrick's dystopian masterpiece wasn't just banned by government sit, was voluntarily withdrawn by its own creator. This tale of violence, free will, and social conditioning became too controversial for even Kubrick to handle. After media reports of copycat violence, Kubrick himself requested the film be pulled from British cinemas in 1973. It remained banned in the UK until after his death in 1999, creating a 27-year suppression period. The film's mix of stylized violence, classical music, and moral philosophy created something unprecedented in cinema. Its influence on filmmaking, philosophy, and popular culture was enormous. When finally re-released, it proved its artistic worth had only grown during its absence. It remains one of cinema's most powerful examinations of violence, choice, and human nature. These 25 films didn't just break rules, they rewrote them. From underground provocations to mainstream masterpieces, they proved cinema's power to shock, challenge, and transform culture. Many faced legal battles, sparked riots, or disappeared for decades, but their influence shaped modern filmmaking. The 1970s represented a unique moment when filmmakers could push boundaries that would be impossible today. These banned films became legends precisely because they were forbidden, proving that sometimes the most dangerous art becomes the most enduring. Which of these controversial classics shocked you most? Have you managed to see any of these legendary banned films? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you love cinema that dared to break every rule, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into film history's forbidden chapters.